literacy. In school, you learn your ABCs. In life, you learn the rest of the alphabet. And I can tell you this, as I've announced my candidacy for State Senate District 11, that I've learned a lot, and we're excited about the power of we and trying to break through politics as usual as we've come to know them in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Grew up here as a native and know that we have a rich history of educators, a rich history of folks that just get up every day and go to work. And there's something about this community that deserves more. We know that, we talk about it, and there's something about the connection from the home to the dome that we're talking about in the power of we. It's going to take you, me, the power of we to go back to what we used to do, old school style, speaking of educators, old school style, where we used to know exactly what was going on because we had a connection of communication, proper communication, proper education. And I just want, just very briefly, to share a few things with you as it relates to this campaign and this election that's coming up, the special election on April the 7th. I want you to know that only Democrats can vote in this election. Only Democrats. So if you're independent or Republican, you got till March the 13th where you can change if you want to, your affiliation. Come on board. If not, I respect your stance. I also want you to know that we've got the candidates. Our State Representative Kevin Matthews is a candidate, Heather Nash is a candidate, and myself, Regina Goodwin. I want you to know, should Kevin Matthews, our representative, lose that election, he will remain as our state representative. I want you to know the dynamics. Should he win, right now we have a gaping hole on the Senate side. Our senator stepped down. We have 2 years left on his term. Should Representative Matthews win this term, he would have abandoned his post early. We will leave the representative side without representation for months. We will have to have another special election that you're going to have to pay for to fill that seat. I want you to know the dynamics of this race. I want you to know that the Senate side and the representative side, the pay is the same. There is a Senate seat that's open. That's why I'm running for that seat. I'm not running against a person. I'm running for that seat, the Senate seat, and that you would sit there in the Capitol if elected. So I want that information to get out. Qualifications for Senate. You have to be 25 years old. You have to reside in the district, be a registered voter, and be blessed not to be a felon. So somebody asked me, why in the world did you jump up and try to run for Senate? Well, we're not jumping up and trying to run for anything. We've been working in this community for decades. Our service has been without pay, without title, because it was the right thing to do. It was our group from the grassroots effort that got African American studies back in the Tulsa public schools. It was our effort. It was our effort that looked at young black boys who were being maligned in the school system and suspended without due process. We worked with their parents and with the students. These students are back in school, and young women also. Back in school, they're now on to college with scholarships. Had we not intervened, these children would have been sidelined from the schoolyard to the prison system. As you're aware, third grade test scores will determine what our private prison system population is going to be. So we have been on the ground working. We were the ones that took $4,000. We had to scrounge around and find $4,000 to fight Ward Connerly when he was trying to stop affirmative action as it related to higher ed and job contracts. And we took $4,000 against his $400,000, and we were the first state out of 5. Oklahoma, mind you, Oklahoma, the first out of 5 states to stop Ward Connerly and its supposed civil rights initiative. It was a trick petition. Some of you all might remember when it was circulating. A lot of folks were signing it. We got the word out. We became more educated, and we were able to stop that on the grassroots level. That took us from the grassroots level to the Secretary of State, to the Attorney General, where we had to deal. We know about experience. Experience comes into doing. Experience comes in working and collaborating with the folks that can make something happen. And from that standpoint, the Attorney General and the Secretary of State agreed with us, just common folks on the ground. We know how to read, we know how to write. And we went to them and said, this petition is flawed. They agreed. They changed the ballot language. That's what we can do from the grassroots level. That's what we're talking about, the power of we. So now what we're talking about is we're talking about running for office. Why? Because it's time to do more. It's time to become more. It's time to get what we deserve and stand strongly and speak to those issues that need to be addressed. So have you heard about the House bill now that Representative Fisher proposed dealing with advanced placement? If you're teachers in the audience, I know you know that they're trying to take advanced placement history out of Tulsa public schools. Do you all understand what that means? When you have legislators who are not educators, I've always said, I just wish the teachers would go down to the Capitol and take care of business. You would increase your pay. You would talk about the testing that's too much and too little learning. You would do that for yourselves. Yeah. But we're asking that we be attentive to this legislation that's being passed through now, being discussed. Now it's getting a lot of flack, right, because people are standing up. We're saying that's not a good idea. And they said they didn't want advanced placement in the history courses because they said it talked about the bad history of America. Can you imagine if we had a Bible that did not talk about the bad stuff that we do? We've got to tell the whole story. We've got to tell the whole story, and we can handle the truth. One thing I know is that we can handle the truth, but we've got to be vigilant. We've got to stand up where we need to stand. So, very quickly, when we talk about a platform, yes, I can talk about education reform. Absolutely, we've been doing that for decades. And we could talk about economic development, and we could talk about expand and improve affordable health care, right? We've heard this all your lives. You've talked about redesigning the criminal justice system. The platform has always been the same, hasn't it? So it's not about the platform. The question is the power of we. We are only going to go as far as we are going to go. And we're saying, please, let's do something different in this community. Let's break through all of the stuff we've been seeing. And let's do something. Let's break through. I believe, as my grandmother said, there's something about getting the word out to folks. She said, Regina, you know what? They can take your clothes. They can take your house. They can take your cars with your wheels. And I know guys get into those big wheel things on the spinners and all that. They can take all of that, but they cannot take what you get in between here. That they cannot take. And we're asking that you guys become informed about this process. April 7th is vitally, vitally important to all of us. We're standing here asking for your vote on April 7th. We can break through. The power of we. Regina Goodwin, thank you very much.
Come on, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Regina, for coming and sharing.